Hi everyone, let's go through my medium time frame and low time frame Elliott Wave scenarios on Bitcoin, starting with the medium time frame where we are looking for a three-wave structure in either an ABC or a WXY to the downside, which is a corrective structure. And if we then look at the range that we have been in for the past couple of many days by now, we're looking at a move to the upside in an A or W, followed by a three-wave structure then in a wave X or a wave B, followed then by a final wave to the upside in a wave C or a wave Y in blue, which is then finishing the green X or green B. Now currently inside this range, thinking about this to be a WXY, currently on our way to the downside in this wave Y. Now wave Y can have many different patterns inside of it. It currently looks to be at least some sort of a three-wave structure, but I'll go to the lower time frames in a second. The target area for this wave Y, which currently is quite interesting, is between 27.6k and 27.2k. So this is an interesting area for potentially a little bit of support. It includes a weekly at 27.6k. We have a triple bottom. We have the 886 as well, taken from this low to this high over here, and we also have the 1-to-1, which is taken from the high of A or W to the low of W to the high of wave X. And as you can see, it's nicely positioned inside the white target box. So this is a nice little bit of like confluence inside this area for then a potential move to the upside, where if price would move to the downside, of course one has to usually wait and see what price is going to do in this area. Of course everyone has their own plan and their own strategy, but that could be a potential long scenario, stop loss safely below somewhere and then trading it to the upside, where then the target is going to be this white box over here. So if price comes to the downside, maybe a bit of a bounce, retracement, seeing some bullish CVD divergences for then maybe an entry and continuation to the upside, could be a nice potential scenario at these lows over here. But of course we're not there yet, so we have to wait and see how price develops. And if we then look at the target box here at the top, it is quite a big one. It's between a 30k and 32.4k. And you can see there's quite a lot going on over here. We have the triple top currently above these highs. We have the high at 31k, and we have the 2022 range highs at 32.4k. And the reason this target box is quite big is because we don't really know too sure if it's going to be a WXY or an ABC. So an ABC can either be a zigzag, meaning this is a five-wave structure, followed then by a three-wave in a wave B, and then five waves to the downside in a wave C, where the invalidation for this scenario is taking the high of 31k, because an ABC or in a 535 move, the corrective move, the three-wave move, is not allowed to take the high over here, the origin of wave A. However, if this is a three-wave structure, then it can be an expanding flat, for example, something like this, right? Where the 2022 range highs are going to be very interesting. It can be a regular flat, where we are going to take the high at 31k and then we're going to move down. But it can also be a WXY, which is then a 3, and then another three-wave move to the downside. So we have to wait and see. And then you might be like, yeah, but hey, can't you count this? Well, I did. But the thing is, it's actually very difficult to know exactly what's going on. Like, this can be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And actually, wave 1, 2, 3, and 4 are quite nice to count, but wave 5 is a very, very weird structure, very weird count, which makes you doubt a little bit. So that's why you always need to have the alternative scenario of this potentially being a three-wave structure, even though the last leg of this three-wave structure is very, very extended. It even reaches rare targets, and also candles are closed below the rare target in this being a three-wave structure, but still keeping it on the chart just in case, right? It's better to be safe than to be sorry. Now if we look at the chart as well, you see at least a few target boxes. The first one is the blue one that we haven't reached 3 times by now. Would be nice to actually hit it once, which is between 30.2k and 30.4k. And to the downside, in case this scenario is going to be true, we're going to move down, move up, and then eventually look for more downside, because one tries to look for a partner leg that we have over here, like look for a similar structure or at least a move continuation to the downside, taking these lows. Well, the yellow target box would be the first target, 24,850 to 24.3k, and then we have the blue one between 22.6k and 21.8k. So that is indeed quite interesting. And then finally, you see some fib times on the chart, the vertical lines, the green lines, which is the 1-to-1 all the way to the 2 over here. And these fib times are taken from the high to the low of this wave W or wave A to compare the length in time of WA to this B or wave X. And it is completely normal for a wave B or a wave X to take a lot longer compared to a wave A or a wave W. So currently I have it all the way up to the 2, which basically means that this corrective structure, if price is going to go all the way here, is twice as long as the length in time of W and A, but that is absolutely fine. But as you can see, I also use fib time for a little bit of like positioning my my target boxes there. So if we then go to the lower time frames, then what we have been looking for is a WXYXZ, which is a corrective structure to the upside in here, a WXYXZ. And the targets are actually very nicely respected. So this wave Y in a WXYXZ, most common target is the 1-to-1, which if I go to the 15, you can see very nicely respected. So in a WXYXZ, what you want to see is wave Y hitting the 1-to-1 and rejecting over there. Very nice indeed. And this then being a 3-wave. Then we have a corrective X over here, another 3-wave, an ABC corrective structure in X, and then another 3-wave to the upside, and then this being a wave Z, where wave Z reached its common target of also hitting the 1-to-1. So that's actually quite nice indeed. And if we then look at this structure to the downside that we have at the moment, then what you can see, and actually put my target boxes on as well, is this looks to be a 3-wave structure. Now a 5-wave move, like in an impulse, is quite like invalidated, because this, yeah, one could say, hey, a 1, 2, 3, because if you look at the volume as well, high volume, so then you have a 1, 2, 3, this being a 4, 5. Well, of course, that could be possible, but when you look at the way the impulse is structured at the moment, then it is not a very nice wave 2 over here compared to a wave 4. Yes, wave 4s tend to be longer than a wave 2, but this wave 4 is incredibly long compared to this wave 2, and it makes much more sense to count this as an ABC, followed by this being its own corrective structure at the moment, where if this is an ABC, wave C reached a rare target of the 1.618 before then starting this ranging structure to the upside. If we compare the ranging structure that we have in fib time compared with the first structure, so this ABC being the first one, then we can do this, and you can see that so far this ranging structure that we have at the moment over here is almost as long as this whole move to the downside. So this being a wave 4 is for me invalidated. It makes much more sense that this is its own structure, which basically means that we have 3 waves to the downside, which again opens a couple of possibilities. So if this is a 3-wave structure, we can have this already maybe even finished, being a 3-wave structure in a potential wave X or wave B, and this then being an A, B, C, or a WXY, because if it is an A, B, C, you want to see price continue moving to the upside for a flat. That's basically what you're then looking for in an A, B, C scenario. So yeah, 3 waves, it has A, B, C, WXY potential at the moment. But basically one expects a range to the upside before then continuation to the downside. So then again, let me repeat it to actually make clear. There's a couple of scenarios, which also means why it's so difficult to trade this at the moment is because this is a 3-wave structure. You can have the following: a W, an X, and a Y to the downside. You can have this as a 3-wave A, followed by a 3-wave B, maybe even taking the high of wave Z in an expanding flat before then continuation to the downside in a wave C. So that is also a possibility, or maybe a regular flat, which is around this high and then going down. So those are 2 things to keep an eye on, or eventually maybe even a triangle, right? If this is an ABC, then you go up, go down, go up, go down, and then you have an A, B, C, D, E type of move before eventually continuation to the upside. So always very difficult to know what's going on if you get a 3-wave structure. We have to wait and see. But if you, as a trader, have a clear plan, you have clear entry requirements, you know what you're looking for, then it doesn't really matter, because then you have a clear plan, clear structure. You just wait and see what happens on the chart, and if you see what you want to see, you enter the trade. Now, I do like to say that above price at the moment, between 29.5 to 6K and 29.7K, there is a target box with a little bit of resistance, but of course price does not have to hit the target boxes for a potential support or resistance area. I mean, as you can see, price bounced over here after filling this bit of a gap as well on the order block that we have, and didn't yet reach the target box below, which currently sits between 28.2k and 28k. So we have to wait and see how price is going to develop over the weekend. But also what's nice about this being quite a complex structure on the lower time frames as well, and maybe not really knowing what's happening, is that you can just enjoy your weekend and actually not look at the charts. But in general, one would be looking for a continuation to the downside, either taking this higher or not, but one is at least looking for another leg similar to the first one. Whatever happens with this corrective structure, if it goes all the way up or not, well, it's quite unlikely, to be honest, that it actually goes all the way up because of the length of this structure at the moment, which almost is already the same length as this one over here. So it's much more likely that this is a WXY type of move actually than this being an A expanding flat and then continuation down, just because of time-wise, this is almost as long now as this move to the downside. So that's a little golden nugget at the end of this video. I hope this video was helpful or valuable to you. Please check out the macro and the high time frame video if you're interested. And for now, thanks for watching and subscribing, and I will see you at the next one. Bye bye.